Hi, my name's Terry Gile, and I am happy to be your Booklegger volunteer for this month. You're receiving a backpack with 6 different books, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about each book. I'm going to start with 2 books that have something in common, but they're very different from each other. These are both fiction books. This one is called Frindle, and this one's called My Big Fat Zombie Goldfish. They're books that I think you're going to enjoy, both of them, but they're different in that this one, Frindle, is called a realistic fiction. That means everything in this book really could happen in real life. This is a book that your parents and maybe even your grandparents have read, because it's kind of a book that's been around for a long time. I call it a classic because it's a book that everyone who reads it really falls in love with it. It's about a little boy named Nick, and I'm going to read to you just the first few sentences. You can see what kind of character Nick is. If you ask the kids and the teachers at Lincoln Elementary School to make 3 lists, all the really bad kids, all the really smart kids, and all the really good kids, Nick Allen would not be on any of them. Nick deserved a list all of his own, and everyone knew it. Was Nick a troublemaker? Hard to say. One thing's for sure, Nick Allen had plenty of ideas and he knew what to do with them. And this book starts out telling you about one of his ideas he had in 3rd grade. He turned his classroom into a tropical island without his teacher even knowing. He got all the kids in his class to wear summery beach clothes. He sprinkled sand on the floor. So, I don't know, was he a troublemaker? Maybe. The main part of the story is something that he did in 5th grade, and it had to do with an ink pen. He started calling this pen by a different name. And all of his friends and family, even people in his whole city, started using that name. Everyone thought it was cool except his 5th grade teacher. So you'll have to read and find out what her reaction was. She kind of thought he was a troublemaker. Realistic fiction. This one I told you is also fiction book, not realistic. Have you ever heard of a big fat zombie goldfish before? Not real life, but funny. So the author of this book tells a story about a little boy who has a big brother who thinks of himself as a mad scientist. He likes to do experiments, and one of the experiments he did was took a fish, a goldfish from a carnival, and well, I'm not going to tell you the details. He did some pretty crazy things with this fish. It caused the fish to change form. So this little guy decided he was going to save the fish from the big brother, the evil big brother, and tried to bring him back to life with a battery and shocked him. Have you seen a TV show where the doctor puts the little pads on the person and then it shocks him back to life? That's what they did with this goldfish. Ended up a zombie. So he saved the world, actually. He saved the school from being taken over by the evil scientist brother. I have a few pages marked in this book because one of the things that I thought was the funniest was the illustrations. And I'll show you what I mean by that. In this book says, "You're dead meat." My friend finished my words, and we ran back into Mark's room to grab the bowl of gloopy green water. You're dead meat. Have you heard that phrase before? There's what the illustrator did. He drew a picture of the little boy with meat for a body. This one talks about finger sandwiches. Finger sandwiches just means they're little tiny skinny sandwiches, but the author made him imagine there's really fingers in there. There's lots of pictures like that. This one says, "She winked at me and ruffled my hair. You can act very grown up sometimes, can't you, when you put your mind to it?" And here the illustrator has him taking his brain out of his head and putting it in. He put his mind to it. We know that's not really what it means, right? He's just paying attention to it. So when you read this book, you're going to find out all about this zombie goldfish, but pay really close attention to the illustrations. They'll make you chuckle for sure. The next book, we're going to switch gears. This one's not fiction. This is a nonfiction book. This is called Weird But True Ocean. 300 Fantastic Facts from the Deep Blue Sea. Now, these two fiction books, when you read these, you're going to want to start on page 1, and you're going to want to read the whole book through to find out the story. This book, you don't have to start on page 1. You can just close your eyes and open the book, and whatever page you land on, you'll learn something. The red handfish has a set of fins that looks like human hands. That looks fiction, but it's not. That's real. That's a real fact. And a real photograph to show it. You can close your eyes, open up the book, and it says here, seahorses can move each of their eyes independently. So one eye can look over here and the other eye can look over there at the same time. True fact. Isn't that interesting? We'll do one more. Let's see. Every time I read this book, I learn something different. Scientists found a 2,000-year-old device used to calculate the movement of the sun, moon, and planets in a shipwreck in the Mediterranean Sea. 2,000 years ago, somebody made some type of a tool that helps them to learn about the sky. Very interesting. Mediterranean Sea. That would be a fun place to visit. So weird but true ocean facts. I think that you're going to like that. You might start on page 1 and read the whole thing, but if you only have 5 minutes to spare, just open up the book and see what you find. Next book. This is, let's see if I can have you figure out what kind of genre it is. Water rolls, water rises. But it says here, el agua rueda, el agua sube. What do you notice about the words in here? Some of you in your class might know 2 languages, English and Spanish. That's what this book is written in. This is a poetry book. So this poem doesn't rhyme. Not all poems do. But the words paint a picture in your mind. All of the poetry in this book is about water and how it moves. Blown by the wind, water sails high. Sails is kind of a movement. Tumbling clouds, plums curl through the air. You're going to find movement. Filling deep wells, water hums in the dark. It hums. That's like something a person would do. It sloshes in buckets and quenches our thirst. These are all things that water does. In storms, water plunges in thunder's brash roar. So the English will be on one side and the Spanish will be on the other side. Now, I was telling you that my big fat zombie goldfish had some pretty illustrations, pretty cool, funny illustrations. This one has beautiful paintings, and they're all based on real life places. So when you look in the very back of the book, you can look at each one of the paintings in this book and you can find out where it was. The person who wrote this book traveled all around the world and designed these pictures after places they'd visited. So if I look here, down smooth canals, water streams, water slides, gliding up roots of tulips and corn, I can come to the back of the book and I can find that picture, and it's happened to be in Holland, in the Netherlands. So you can find out where each of those scenes takes place. So that's our poetry book. The next book. This is a fairly new book, and this is a hardcover book, so this one you'll like to put your hands on. This is called Making a Difference, and these are young change makers. This is another one that you don't have to read the whole book. This is another one that you can just open up to a page. Let's check out Jack. So this book is like a biography. So it's a story that somebody wrote about somebody else's life. True story. But everybody who had a story written about them is a kid, just like you. So this boy, Jack, he lives in Sydney, Australia. It's a very long ways from here. And he said, this is his quote, "You may be small, but your voice is mighty." Those are the words of Jack Byrne, a boy from Sydney, Australia, who's doing what he can to help the environment. A few years ago, his area of Australia was experiencing a severe drought. That means it was very dry. No rain was falling. Farmers were losing crops and selling their animals. They weren't able to feed them due to lack of rain. After watching a kids' news program about the drought, Jack decided to do something. He brainstormed with his parents, and a river for a farmer was born. That was his idea. Then, after the introduction, you'll always have a story here, nonfiction, true story, about what this child did to make the world a better place. There's some fun facts about him. His favorite food is ramen. He has a rabbit named Bun Bun. Lots of interesting things about him. And then he's got some advice here that's to help you to make the world a better place and to make a difference. So every story in here is about a different child. Tells you where they live, shows you a photograph of them, and then it describes what they did to make a difference in the world. So again, this is one that you can just pick up and read one or two of those stories, or you can read the whole book. Depends on how much time you have available. And the last book. I definitely saved this book for the last because it's my very, very favorite. When I was a third grade teacher, I read this to my class every single year. It's called The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. Kate DiCamillo, you might have seen her name in your library because she's written a lot of books, like Because of Winn-Dixie. This book, I call it a love story. It's about a little girl. Beautiful pictures about a little girl who has a rabbit. Kind of reminds me of the Velveteen Rabbit, if you know that story. Not a whole lot of pictures in this one, but a beautiful drawing to start each chapter. Every now and then you'll have a colored painting to show. So this story, Edward is the rabbit. He really loved himself a lot, and he thought he was better than everybody else. He kind of looked down on other people. He didn't know how to love, and the little girl that he ends up befriending taught him a lot about love. Now he goes on a journey. The journey was not something he wanted to do. He got lost in a pretty traumatic way. I'm not going to spoil that for you, but you'll have to read and find out how he got lost. It had to do with an ocean. And on this journey that he went on, one person found him and then lost him. Then another person found him and lost him. And each time he was found, he learned a little bit more what love is. And it might make your heart feel a little sad at times. It might make you smile in different places. It might even give you a little goosebumps in some of the places. So I hope you love this book as much as I do. And read it with a friend. That would make it even better. So those are our 6 books that you're receiving. I hope you love them. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you go home and tell your families about what you read.